I talked about our major project in the course introduction video, but I want to spend a few minutes in this video going specifically through the instructions for this major project. Again, this is the type of thing, one of many things you will be doing as a safety professional. Training's a big part of it, and you could be doing training videos. Even before, I mentioned in the course introduction video, since COVID, it's become more common. Before COVID, I was doing these kinds of videos. I can give you examples of new hire orientations and fall protection trainings and all kinds of different topics covered using videos similar to this. I'm basically just going to be reading the instructions to you. If you have any questions, I'm here to help you. And this is one of those assignments where you should be reaching out to me for assistance. Again, please don't wait until the last minute for this assignment. Give yourself 2-3 weeks, work on it a little bit at a time over a 2, 3, 4 week period. You could take longer. It's due December 7th. So you've got plenty of time, but please don't wait until the last minute. That's probably the biggest problem I've seen in the past with this assignment. Some students wait until the last minute, then they wait until the last minute, then they have technical difficulties, or they realize, hey, I don't have PowerPoint on my computer. How am I going to do this? Well, plan ahead, work on it a little bit at a time. Don't stress out over it. It's really not it's a major project, but it's not. I'm guessing you might have 5 or 6 hours total work time into the project, maybe more, maybe a little less, depending on how efficient you work. But I think the key is giving yourself time. First of all, let's talk about the learning objectives. And this is all in your syllabus. This is on page 10 and 11 of your syllabus. Let's go ahead and talk about the learning objectives. At the conclusion of this activity, students will have practice making presentations like the ones they will make as an EHSM professional. Students will learn about OSHA and the structure of OSHA regulations. Students will learn about the process of creating training video materials using PowerPoint and PowerPoint's built-in video rendering capabilities. Now, I no longer use PowerPoint rendering for my videos, but it's very possible to do videos that look almost exactly like the ones that I make that you see on a regular basis. Now, I use other software because the software I use is called Camtasia. Gives me much greater flexibility, and I can do more with it. PowerPoint is limited as far as its video creation capabilities or rendering capabilities, but it is very workable when it comes to making videos, videotaping PowerPoint presentations. And you do need to use PowerPoint. It's got to be PowerPoint. And I would recommend PowerPoint for Windows because PowerPoint for Apple doesn't work the same way. And another thing about Apple versus Windows, in the real world, businesses don't use Apple machines. Apple probably uses Apple machines, and there may be there may be 10%, 15% of businesses that use Apple products, but most businesses expect you to know how to use Windows and Windows-based applications. And you'll see that in a lot of job listings. They'll specifically ask for someone who's proficient in Windows and Microsoft Office applications, which a Microsoft Office application, PowerPoint is a Microsoft Office application. Continue reading here. Safety professionals are expected to have some knowledge of OSHA regulations and be able to find needed information in the OSHA regulations. And I think this is the most important thing we need to be able to do, is find the information. We don't have to necessarily have it all memorized, but know where it's at. Be able to find those regulations. This activity will help you learn about, navigate, negotiate OSHA regulations. Training others is a common task performed by safety professionals. This activity is designed to provide you with experience making brief training presentations. In this training presentation, you will be discussing 5 to 8 specific OSHA regulations, only 5 to 8. The regulations you will be speaking about will come from the same OSHA subpart. Information about the activity. Choose a subpart from the General Industry 1910 or Construction 1926 regulations. Each student will have a different subpart, and this is an individual project, not a group project. As far as the topics, and they're over here on this page, and we'll talk about those more in just a second. Each student will have a different topic, a different subpart. It will be first come, first serve in choosing subparts. So you should email me as soon as possible to identify the subpart you will focus on in your presentation. And again, here's the list that we'll talk more about. Go through the subpart and identify. Once you have your subpart that you're going to cover, identify 5 to 8 regulations you think are important for workers to understand. Prepare a PowerPoint. You must use PowerPoint. Prepare a PowerPoint presentation for covering these regulations. Imagine that you are training workers who are not familiar with the regulations. In addition to the wording found in the regulation, you should have at least 2 photos for each regulation. One photo will provide an example of compliance, workers following the regulation correctly. The other photo will show a violation of the regulation. Once your PowerPoint is prepared, you will then make a video recording of you making the presentation. You will use PowerPoint's built-in video processing capabilities to record your presentation, and this is not negotiable. You can't videotape yourself with your phone. You can't videotape yourself with a camera. One of the objectives here is for you to learn how to use the PowerPoint functions. And the way you learn how to use the PowerPoint video rendering capabilities is by using it. So you got to do it this way. I have put a video on YouTube demonstrating how to use PowerPoint to create presentation videos. There's another video that will take you through the entire process of how to do this using PowerPoint. Presentation length, 10 to 15 minutes. You should not be under time or over time. In workplace settings, presentation length is very important. If you are told you have 20 minutes to present your report, it should not go over. If it does, your boss may be upset. For this assignment, there will be penalties for being under 10 minutes or over 15 minutes. You can earn up to 100 points for this presentation. The due date, submit your completed video presentation on or before December 7th. There will be a significant point penalty for late submissions. A little bit more information about PowerPoints. If you don't have PowerPoint on your machine, every student at NSU has free access to the Microsoft Office suite, including PowerPoint. NSU has numerous computer laboratories available to students. So what I'm getting at here, there's no excuse. You can't say, oh, I don't have PowerPoint, or you can't say I don't have a computer. There are laboratories, Broken Arrow and Tahlequah. There you can download the software free of charge to your computer. And it is strongly recommended that you use PowerPoint for Windows. PowerPoint for the Apple operating system is not quite the same, and you won't be able. It won't look the same. It won't look like the example video that I provide. It won't look like my videos. If you use the Apple PowerPoint for the Apple operating system. Already mentioned this, but let me mention it again. Safety professionals are expected to be proficient with the Windows operating system and the Microsoft Office suite, especially Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. Most job listings for EHS jobs will have this as a requirement. And one more thing on Apple. I don't have anything against Apple. I'm wearing an Apple Watch. I've got an Apple phone. I've got an iPad. To me, Apple are great, useful toys. But in the business, as far as business applications, they lag behind, and you don't see them used a lot. And they're also, I think, one of the reasons you don't see Apple a lot in business settings is because they're expensive for what you get. They're overpriced. A Windows machine, A Windows machine is a lot more cost effective, and that's why you see probably the most common computer manufacturer you'll see in a business setting will be Dell. HP also shows up a lot, but Dell's probably, Lenovo also. Dell, Lenovo, HP are probably the top three manufacturers as far as providing computer technology to business and to use in a business environment. Let's look at the list here. Now, these are the only ones that are available to you. Over on the left, we have general industry. Subpart D, walking and working surfaces. Subpart F, powered platforms, man lifts and vehicle mounted work platforms, fire protection, and so on. I'm not going to read all these to you. If you want to do one of these, you're welcome to do one of these. If you want to do construction, these are the subparts available to you under the 1926 construction regulations. General safety and health, personal protective and life-saving equipment. That's usually the first one that people jump on. So if you want to do that one, you better let me know quick. Electrical, scaffolds, fall protection, excavations, confined spaces and construction, some others here. Now, some of these topics are really large with a lot of regulations, a lot of pages. I recommend focusing on just a small section of each subpart. For example, 1926 Subpart P, excavations. Just focus on 1926 651. This is the part of those regulations that talk about specific excavation requirements. For 1910 Subpart N, which is materials handling and storage, you could focus just on 1910 178, which has to do with powered industrial trucks or forklifts. Yeah, and you're only going to do 5 to 8 regulations in your presentation. So you'll need to identify, out of whatever area you're focusing in, you'll need to identify the regulations that you think are most crucial for workers to be aware of. And again, our goal always in safety management is to prevent incidents, to prevent injury. So what are those regulations that if workers violate those regulations, they could be severely injured or even die as a result? But some of that, especially if you're just starting in this major, some of that may be difficult for you to identify, the 5 to 8 that are most crucial. If you need any help with that, any guidance with that, for choosing what regulations you're going to cover in your presentation, let me know. This is one area where I can help. So that's pretty much it. Again, there's this video that you're watching now and 2 other videos to help you with this project. So let me know if you have any questions. Come by the office. We can do a Zoom conference. We can do whatever you need to do to get you off to a good start and help you throughout this process.